All right, friends, I cannot believe we are already in 2023. This is absolutely insane. Although I am filming this video before 2023, but I wanted to let you guys know that I'm going to be switching up my videos and putting a little bit more effort towards them. And if you've already seen my moon videos, you know they're long, they are thorough, and I wanted to give you guys even more. So, what that looks like is I'm going to be doing weekly forecasts, and we're just going to give this a trial period and see how it goes. Let me know in the comments down below, do you like this? Do you prefer just to have the new and full moon videos, or do you want the full week transit day by day energy? If that's the case, please let me know which one you prefer, because I don't want to put all this energy out there if you guys aren't really interested and if it's not helpful. I'm also going to be doing new weekly videos where I tackle subjects that are related to astrology, psychology, and likely entrepreneurship or your purpose. That's my field, that's my essence, that's my specialty. So if you are a business owner and you want an astrology business reading from me or coaching from me, definitely check me out at willisboom.com. And so I'm going to be going over really important content that I have used to transform my life and understand my purpose, my essence, how to live in my highest version of myself based off of my chart and also my intuition and what I know about myself. And so I'm going to help you guys do that too with my weekly videos. So if you guys are liking those, definitely make sure to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you want to see more of that content, so I know what to put energy towards and what not to do. And if you have suggestions about content that you want to see, definitely let me know that in the description box down below. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. So we are talking about the first week of January 1st to the 7th, in which on the 6th, we are going to have the Cancer full moon at 16 degrees of Cancer. So we're going to talk about the full moon. We're also going to talk about the week leading up to it. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we are starting off the week, actually a little bit before, December 29th, with Mercury going retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. So wherever you have Capricorn, which we'll go over this in all the signs, is where you're going to have a moment to reflect. Where do you maybe need to refine some things that you've already started, kind of go back to the drawing board in some respects, redo some things, reflect on some things. And this could be actually, I know it's starting off the year, but it could be a really good time to sit and reflect upon this past year or even 10 years about how your life has unfolded, and ask yourself maybe what direction you want to move into next that will maybe fill the gaps where you have had kind of missing opportunities in the past. And I think that will be really helpful to ask ourselves in terms of planning, because Mercury in a sign of Capricorn is all about planning and structuring our work and understanding how we plan to structure our lives. And on January 1st, it's going to make a sextile to Neptune. So I feel like it'll be really beautiful on the 29th to start to think about the past and what we've accomplished and what we haven't accomplished. And on the 1st is when we can start to fill in those missing holes and gaps and pieces. When we start to get inspiration from the universe in this kind of dreamlike state. Not the best time to make really solid decisions, but a really great time to visualize, feel inspired, and connect to your higher self. Then on January 1st, we're also having Venus conjunct Pluto in Capricorn, and I pulled the shark card, and I definitely feel like this is what it's talking about in particular. Venus conjunct Pluto is usually a time of a little bit more intensity where we might start to see more of the truth or the depth of a situation. This could be especially be regarding relationships, money, and our value systems, but I will go over where Venus is in your chart to see where that's impacting you the most. But many of us are going to be asking maybe some deeper questions or facing some things that are unseen or unheard of in our lives. And it could come up in a sometimes sudden way, or we could attack it in a sudden way. So it's like, I'm willing to focus on this head on, just like a great white will come up from the depths and leap up into the shallows to grab a seal or whatever it's grabbing. Just like that, I feel like many of us are going to be tackling head on some of our realizations or the deeper thoughts that we're having about those specific areas of our lives. The next day on January 2nd, Venus will move into Aquarius. So the energy will start to shift a little bit. We have these amazing realizations, and then we're going to start coming into this more kind of rational and logical side of ourselves. it might feel a little bit more emotional with this shark where we're going into the depths and we're feeling this kind of intensity. And we might even feel like part of us is kind of dying off. That can sometimes happen with Pluto. And then it's being reborn in Aquarius, where we're setting our sights on something long term, where we're focusing also on how this vision is going to impact people. And it can be sometimes a little bit emotionally detached, but I think that would be actually beneficial in this specific scenario because we're coming from a more heightened emotional place when Pluto is in contact with Venus. Shortly after that, on the 3rd, we have Venus making a sextile to Jupiter, which is all about transcending some of these things that we've experienced. So if you're having some intense emotions come up and you're facing them head on, we start to get the fruits of that labor. We start to see things feel lighter, feel freer, more opportunities arise when Venus makes this beautiful sextile to Jupiter on January 3rd. This is a good time for relationships, connections, conversations, business deals, all of that. And if you guys are interested in actually seeing all of the transits listed out along with the energy of that particular day so you can kind of plan accordingly, I have a Notion template, which I'll link down below if you use Notion, where I list out transits for all of the important days. We also have on January 4th, the sun making a trine to Uranus. So this feels like a breakthrough day where many of us could have maybe some kind of erratic energy, but the unexpected that occurs during that time helps to kind of carve out a path for where we're going next. So it's like a random DM popping up that you never expected that kind of sets you down a certain trail or certain path where you get to know someone new or you start a new job as a result of meeting this person. And it kind of unfolds. And it's going to vary in intensity from person to person. But there does tend to be a sense of aliveness on a day when the sun trines Jupiter, where it feels like there are unlimited possibilities. We can break the status quo of our everyday lives and go after something new. So it feels like if there's a time and a place to go after what you want and commit to something that's brand new and make a change in your life, that to start off the new year, right? The sun trining Uranus is a great time for that. And then on the 6th, we will, of course, have our full moon in Cancer. So this means that the sun is in Capricorn. It is conjunct Mercury, which is kind of typical of Mercury. It's always, right next to the sun. It's very close. And with Mercury retrograde, there again could be some reflecting on our plans, as I've already mentioned. But the moon opposite it in Cancer is helping us connect more deeply to our sense of belonging. So maybe some of the things that we're redoing are actually helping us align more with things that feel authentic or that feel like they're very easy for us or they are in line with our gifts. They are these little refinements that we can do that make our life more harmonious, more flowing, more centered with our natural way of being. And this is not to say like don't have goals and don't push yourself to develop new aspects of yourself, but it's more so saying, how can we also really invest in doing things that are in alignment with our personality type, that are in alignment with our innate gifts and our essence? And if you don't know what your essence is with astrology, definitely check out my last video that I did which I don't know if it'll come out before or after this, but I think before, where I talk about how to find your essence in astrology and what makes you unique and part of your purpose. But I feel like this full moon is actually helping us enhance that, especially because it's also making a sextile to Uranus, which is again all about authentic expression and liberating ourselves. And a moon in Cancer is wearing your heart on your sleeve. Like the sign of Cancer is you being at home in your sweats, eating Cheetos or vegan Cheetos and just doing kind of whatever you would do behind closed doors. Like you are 100% yourself. And the sextile to Uranus is saying, let's liberate that part of ourselves. Let's make that more available in our everyday lives. And it's squaring Chiron. So there might be some elements of feeling insecure around expressing that essence, because Chiron in the sign of Aries, which it has been for a while now, is all about our individuality and our ability to own our uniqueness, but not just our uniqueness, our ability to assert that identity out into the world and feel like we are valuable, feel like we are worthy, feel like we should be our unique selves. And so this moon squaring Chiron is asking us to confront the parts of ourselves that want to maybe hold back or hide, and make it a little bit more front and center, and align our lives a little bit more with um, this part of ourselves. So for some of you, that could look like taking up a hobby that you've always wanted to do, or representing yourself if you have a business in a more authentic and vulnerable way, or showing up in a relationship and being seen more for who you are. It's about a lot of like liberation from the parts of ourselves that have feared being seen and being in our true essence. And it could also be a really powerful time for the act of creation and fertility in general. So if you're a woman or if you're interested in getting pregnant, it could be a good time. You know, Cancer is the sign that rules children, babies, yada, yada, yada. And actually Leo rules children, but it has to do with Cancer has to do with motherhood. So yeah, there's a sense of fertility here, and we don't want to plant seeds, fertile seeds that will grow into something that feels like a cage. We want to plant seeds that will help us grow out of our shell and embody more of who we are. So be thinking very intentionally about the person that you're trying to show the world, and the appearance or the heart that you're wearing on your sleeve. Because if that's in alignment with your true nature, it's going to be easier for things to grow. It's going to be more happy, and it will create true union, love, and bliss. Without that, you're just growing more separate because you're not actually being yourself. Some of us also might experience a connection more with our ancestors. So how does your unique essence and your gifts and your story relate to your lineage? And that's very much a Cancer topic. We're not just these islands. We're not made in a glass bubble, right? We are interwoven and connected with generations and history of people. And so it could be really beautiful to think back with Mercury retrograde on this lineage and how you have carried some of that forward. And because the moon is squaring Chiron, there is also maybe a desire in some aspects to diverge from the path of your ancestors and break some of that karma. So in some ways, you are carrying their torch forward of this is who I want to embody, because these aspects were beautiful and I want to represent them more in the world. I'm proud of this history and this heritage. And with the square to Chiron, there are other aspects that have kept me trapped. There are limiting beliefs about how life should be or how I should be that are inherited that I'm over. And so this full moon can illuminate some of those aspects of the self. And I think that's a lot of where the insecurity around, I don't know if I can fully show myself in this way or be vulnerable in this way. I think for most of us, it's carried over from previous generations where it maybe wasn't safe for that. And so we are inheriting this connection to our ancestors in the good ways and in the bad ways. And so this full moon will help us kind of see where those gifts are and see where we might want to break from that path. So that's what I'm saying for the overview. Let's go ahead and jump into all of the rising signs, but also make sure to watch for your sun sign because both are relevant and important. All right, up first we have Aries Rising. So this is a forecast for the entire week of January 1st to the 7th. And we're going to be talking about the Cancer full moon, specifically on the 6th. So we are starting off this year with Mercury in retrograde in the sign of Capricorn in your 10th house. And I just kind of feel like this could be beneficial for you to reprioritize things in your career or certain goals, objectives, and things of that nature. I think it's important to consider the amount of energy that you have, because I am definitely seeing quite a bit of success for you guys. And I do think your career in particular will start to light off, as well as your emotional nature. I really feel like you guys might feel more balanced, more fulfilled, more emotionally stable. But in order to maintain that, I do feel like there is some, again, reprioritization needed, because I think that you have quite a bit of balancing going on. So Mercury retrograde is asking you, I guess in some ways, like how you manage your tasks and what is important for you. Maybe if you can rely on other people for help. There definitely feels like there's some kind of like network, because Mercury is about connection. So there's some aspect of communication, network, reliance of a group, which I'm really getting like 6th house energy with that, even though it's in the 10th. So there's something about your goals that you might be able to lean a little bit more on other people for, or you might get some extra support through other means. So not necessarily trying to take everything on for everyone, doing all of the roles, but finding a way to prioritize what you have to really do and see if you can delegate or work with others and get ideas, even support online, whatever it looks like, to help achieve your general career goals. And Mercury is going to make a sextile to Neptune in the 12th on January 1st. So I think that this will help you kind of relax and ease up a bit. This definitely has an energy of not trying to push and rush ahead, which can be a little bit Aries of you, but to be more receptive and in the flow. And if you create a little bit more space in your day, you'll be able to do that a lot better. You also have Venus conjunct Pluto in the 10th house on January 1st. So this could create a little bit of intensity within your relationship dynamics within the workplace. This could create an intensity of focus on your goals. This is going to look different for a lot of people. But whatever it is, it's going to bring you more truth or clarity in regards to your values, in regards to your financial matters, or your relationships within the workplace. And then after that, on the 2nd, Venus will move into the sign of Aquarius. So I think that this will help you facilitate some of that kind of neural network that I have in my head of how do I rely on people? How do I create something that benefits other people? How do I connect more with my friends and receive emotional support? There's something here where I feel like you need to rely on others. And when Venus moves into Aquarius on the 2nd of January, you'll start to get a little bit more universal support with that. Venus is also making a sextile to Jupiter on the 1st, on the 3rd. So I do feel like you guys are not just receiving help and it feeling good and It really feels like it's opening up more possibilities for you. It feels like it's a necessary step to offload some of this pressure and this work to step more into your growth, essentially, because I feel like you need a little bit of wiggle room to grow as an individual and to process some of the emotions that could come through on the 6th. And I do feel like it's, again, helping you stabilize, helping you find happiness, but you can't find happiness by just working super hard. I feel like you need to have very clear priorities, know what you're moving towards. And on January 3rd, I think things will click into place a little bit if you've taken those action steps. It's almost like a well-oiled machine. Things will run really smoothly. And with the Fox card, I feel like there's something here asking you to work smarter, not harder, and to use your intelligence, to use your cunning to get the job done in a way that's going to expend less energy. And when Venus sextiles Jupiter on the 3rd, I feel like it's going to help you then utilize whatever energy is there and put it towards something that could benefit you in the long run, even if it's just your own confidence, your own emotional well-being. The sun is making a trine to Uranus on January 4th. The sun is in your 10th. Uranus is in your 2nd. So this, I feel like, is the success card here. You guys are definitely being supported to have some kind of financial opportunities come your way. At the very least, for you to feel confident in your skills and your talents, for you to feel like you have a lot to offer and to bring to the table. And as a result, this could feel liberating because you're not necessarily feeling trapped or reliant on other people. It's very self-sustaining. Like, I have the skill, I can lead, I can go make money off of this. That's the type of energy this has. And so I feel like many of you guys are going to feel, again, liberated in some capacity because you have what you need to succeed. Now let's talk about the full moon on the 6th. This is happening in the sign of Cancer in your 4th house. And the sun is still in the 10th house opposite this moon and is conjunct Mercury. So I think many of us, again, are kind of reflecting back on our career and our priorities and our objectives and prioritizing things, juggling things. But with the moon in the 4th house, it definitely has this King of Cups card where you are concentrating more also on how you feel, what it's like inside for you, what your internal experience is like going after these goals. So it's very much having you check in with your internal versus external world. And the moon is making a beautiful sextile to Uranus in the 2nd. So it has a very similar energy of asking you what you can do in your life to feel more free. And as I mentioned with the sun trining Uranus on the 4th, I feel like you're already going to kind of have an idea of what this is. And now it's bringing it up in an emotional way. So, okay, if I feel like I'm talented and I'm pursuing this certain skill in my career and I have this ability to make money in this way and I feel like I'm having a breakthrough, how is that impacting me emotionally? How is that going to change my internal world or my life at home, my relationship with my family, my relationship with my sense of security or belonging? And I feel like that's what this sextile is saying is you're becoming more emotionally free, almost like it's the happiness aspect. You have the success, but what is success without happiness? And I feel like with the moon in Cancer sextiling Uranus, you are feeling happy. And it's also going to combat some specific limiting beliefs or painful experiences that you've been through lately. So it's exactly contradicting that. However, that is still present within your aura, within your being. And so the moon in a square to Chiron the first is saying you will have this beautiful new experience. It's almost like emotional settling, or I want to say rebirth, but it doesn't even feel like that significant. It just feels like an emotionally settling, balanced feeling. But it's squaring Chiron the first, which is saying that there's still part of you that's like, I don't believe that I have what it takes, or I went through this painful experience and I'm scared it's going to happen again. And so with the square, it's like there has to be some confrontation here against the old in order to feel like you're fully living in this emotionally settled place. And so we're going to have to maybe do some mindset work around that in particular, so that you don't get caught up in any old plot lines or storylines that are honestly no longer significant right now, because you're experiencing a new emotional frontier and it's the start of a year. It's a time to go all in on that. And if there are these limiting beliefs and parts of you that come up, it's again just time to work through them, straight through them, encounter them head on, and not avoid anything. Really confront those feelings. And that is what's going to help it permanently change in your life and for your heart and emotional body to experience something totally new that will allow it to believe that things can be different. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Aries. If this week resonates, if you enjoyed this instead of our normal moon forecast, just the moon, let me know in the comments down below. And I hope you guys have a beautiful one. Bye. All right, up next we have Taurus Rising and Taurus Sun. So this is the week of January 1st to the 7th. And we're going to be talking about also the beautiful Cancer full moon happening on January 6th, which I'm very excited about. And I think it's going to be a good one for us. So the mailman is here, sorry. So let's go ahead and talk about this, because you guys are going to have definitely a little bit of an eventful one, especially because your chart ruler Venus is a little bit more active this week in particular. So let's dive in. We are starting off the week with Mercury retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. So this will be in your 9th house, happening on December 29th and continuing throughout the week. So Mercury retrograde in your 9th house is actually a really great time to assess your belief systems, as well as maybe where you have put effort in terms of your visions for the future, your ideas, things that you're learning about, things that you might be teaching, planning. The 9th house has a lot to do with our spiritual connection as well, gurus. All those elements of our life can start to become reframed in some capacity. Mercury retrograde is about asking us, especially in the sign of Capricorn, where we're trying to plan or invest our energy long term, and if our current way of doing it makes sense, or if there's a better way to do it. And I do feel like you guys have some ways with this Justice card in reverse. I do think that there are some things that have maybe been a little bit like imbalanced for you guys. That's definitely something that came up, or unfair in some respects. And I actually feel like it's because some of you guys might have some limiting beliefs going on. And please tell me in the description box if there's something around this for you that you would like to share with me. But there might be something in your life where you've been limiting yourself in terms of feeling like you need to work super hard. I mean, you have had Saturn moving through your 10th house for a while now anyway, so it's kind of been pushing that envelope a little bit of, you know, what are you capable of? How much resistance can you go through in your career? How much effort can you put? That's already been going on for a while now. And with this Justice in reverse, it might feel like there's some kind of imbalance brewing in your mental field where you're starting to believe that you can only get something through really hard work, or that something isn't as easy, or that there's just some kind of imbalance. Like there's something very visible in your life. And I think it's going to become really clear as the days move forward. First of all, you're having Mercury sextile Neptune on the 1st. And I think that this is going to help you connect more with your guides, more in meditation. This would be a great time to meditate and journal about where you might have this sense of imbalance. That might be obvious to you, but why you feel that there's an imbalance there, and what internal belief system might need to be restructured to counteract that. And the same day we have Venus conjunct Pluto, and this is where I feel like you're going to have a lot of emotion and a lot of clarity around this, because Mercury going retrograde there is asking you to check in with how you maybe feel like you're not supported or things aren't coming as easily. And I do think that there could be some tests from the universe with Saturn in the 10th to some extent, but also I think that sometimes you can encapsulate like a lesson inside of your body and mind and hold on to it when it's not meant to be held on to. So like, let's say like you're going through this period of time that's meant to be a little bit more resistance, or you have to push harder and work and strive a little bit more. And then that period ends, but you still feel it. You still feel the belief that you have to work hard to get results. You're not meant to hold on to that belief. You're not meant to hold on to that feeling. And so we're meant to kind of dig it up at this particular time with this emotion card. I think that many of you guys could feel a little bit more emotional on the 1st, and even on the Cancer full moon. That's an especially emotional time on the 6th. So your emotions can help you see where you've invested into certain thoughts or certain beliefs and how that has affected you. And so I think that many of you guys are moving towards a phase of unearthing those limitations that you have started to maybe concretize or fossilize in the body, and you're pulling them out. And that's going to help you a lot, because on the 2nd, we have Venus moving into Aquarius, into your 10th house, which is going to start attracting incredible amounts of abundance. And I pulled the Empress card. So I think that you guys are going to see very clearly what limitations or imbalances that were there and how some of that could come from inside. And you're going to start to uproot them, unearth them, like I said, and attract more abundance. And it's going to be also as a result of intense positivity. You can see with this positivity card and the Firefly card, you guys are starting to bring more light to the situation and believe in yourself more, believe in things more, and it's going to bring optimism and eventually success. So definitely ride this wave, because whatever emotions are coming up are here to purge the imbalance and step more into abundance, which I definitely think is your birthright. Especially on January 12th, when Venus makes a sextile to Jupiter in the 12th, you are, did I say January 12th? January 3rd, Venus is making a sextile to Jupiter in the 12th, and this is when you're going to receive, I feel like, a lot of that positivity, that reinforcement from the universe that you can do this. Maybe you get more opportunities coming your way, more confidence, more just belief in things rebalancing or becoming fair, becoming just. On the 9th, or on the... I keep reading the wrong numbers. On the 4th of January, we're having the sun in your 9th house make a trine to Uranus in the 1st. This is, again, a liberation of your beliefs, where it's like, okay, yes, I have this. I'm confident in my success. I'm confident in my ability to make changes. I feel that I just had this image of like all these vines wrapped around you finally being like ripped off, and now you're free. There's not something tethering you back anymore. And so it could, I mean, I'm going to be doing these every week. So everyone's going to feel this in different levels of intensity. Some weeks you might not feel it very much. Some weeks it might be really intense depending on how it's aspecting your chart. But there is a sense of, again, unearthing those limitations and feeling freer as a result. And then we come to the full moon happening on the 6th. So this is in the sign of Cancer in your 3rd house, which is all about our mindset, which is, again, why I'm feeling like you guys are going to be liberated from something. So it's going to be really apparent what that thing is on January 1st when Venus touches Pluto. It's not actually touching Pluto, but it's like right there. Their energies are touching. And that's going to really bring you to the depths, because Pluto is the god of the underworld. So it's going to help you see very clearly what isn't working, what is it inside of me that is resisting this positive this positivity in general, this belief in general, and this feeling of being free and light and airy and like things are balanced and working. And so it's going to become really obvious on the 1st. And then by the 6th, when we have the full moon in Cancer, you are going to get that liberation with the full moon in your 3rd house making a sextile to Uranus in the 1st. It's like, I got this. The change is me and I'm making it happen. And I feel like it's going to feel like there are many possibilities because this Empress card is a card of being able to manifest things out of pure connection to spirit and trust and being in flow. I think many of you guys can enter into a new field or a new state where you're starting to experience that. But this moon is making a square to Chiron in the 12th. So there may still be remnants of wanting to hold on to the belief that you can't trust or that it's not going to work out. And so that could kind of linger. There could be self-sabotage or insecurities or things from the past kind of come up there. But just check in with yourself about how much of that is yours and how much of that is maybe ancestral baggage that's actually beliefs that your family has kind of spewed. Just a fun thing to look at so you can start to disassociate from that feeling or from that pain and move more towards this feeling of liberation, which I think most of us are going to experience. So that is what I'm saying for you, Taurus. If you enjoyed this weekly forecast, if you like this new setup, then definitely let me know in the comments down below. And I hope that you guys have a beautiful new year. Bye. All right, up next we have Gemini. So this is your weekly forecast from January 1st to the 7th, including the full moon in Cancer on January 6th, which is going to be a good one. And I'm very excited about it. And I think many of us are going to have some emotional liberation from the past, which is very exciting. So let's start off this week, actually on December 29th, when Mercury goes retrograde in the sign of Capricorn in your 8th house. So this is a time whenever Mercury goes retrograde to start to go back to the drawing board, to look over some old bullshit. And for you, I say bullshit because it's in your 8th house of bullshit, of trauma, of things that we worry about, things that we fear, our insecurities, our uncertainties, our self-doubt, the things that kind of act as armor that weigh us down, but also kind of protect us from the world, but make it a little bit clunky and hard to get where we want to go. And makes it hard to let things in love and success and opportunities in emotionally. And so when Mercury goes retrograde, it's about really looking at some of those fears in a distinct way where you are asking yourself, what am I letting stop me? Because there's something where I feel like many of you guys are becoming more hopeful in your life, but also whenever we start to move into a higher vibration like faith, hope, success, happiness, we are also confronted with equal part darkness in some ways. We have to kind of fend off the imbalance that tries to come through, or the balance of darkness that tries to come through. And I do feel like you guys are going to have beautiful success in this area. And you're having Mercury make a sextile to Neptune in your 10th the next day, or on the 1st of January. And so I feel like this is where we're going to get some kind of divine insight or inspiration or idea through our career or our goals. And that will help us tackle this retrograde. That will help us understand what it is that we really need to work on in terms of our insecurities and our fears. So you might have this beautiful idea emerge with this Ace of Wands in reverse. You might have this really exciting idea emerge, this inspiration come through, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh shit, there's all these thoughts that I can't have that, or I feel like I'm inexperienced. Actually, when I was laying out your cards, the word fledgling came up. I'm like, what does fledgling mean again? And I looked it up and it was like an experienced person. And so I think many of you guys, especially because this is the Ace of Wands, might feel like you have to wait or to pause because you don't have experience enough to start the thing, to start the idea. But in some ways, I feel like that's actually not the right plan of action, and why Mercury is retrograde. And I think it's first about tackling those limiting beliefs or those fears, and then going straight into action towards it. And it doesn't mean that you have to like go into the full blown version of this thing, but you have to start taking the steps, because that is actually how you get better, right? That's actually how you become experienced. You just start the thing, you just do the thing. And so many of you guys, I feel like, might be in this like lull or like waiting period in some facet. I do think there's another facet where you're working hard, but there's like another idea or something else in your life that you're wanting to act on that I feel like you're pausing because some fears come up. But I also feel like you're hopeful at the same time. So you're having this really interesting, like, mixed bag going on here. And so I think that's going to ultimately help you if you just take one step at a time and focus on confronting with this Buffalo card, running straight into the eye of the storm, confronting those fears head on and doing the thing anyway. I don't feel like this is a sign to not do it. This is a sign to act despite the fears and rewire your brain to realize that these fears are part of an old story that's no longer relevant. And that's something that you might need to tell yourself. Venus is conjunct Pluto in the 8th house on January 1st. So this is going to help you with that Buffalo energy. It's going to help you love yourself enough to commit to facing those deeply held fears around life and those deeply held fears around your security and survival. And that's a lot about what the 8th house is. It's like, how do I protect myself to survive? And Venus conjunct Pluto is like, this isn't working. Let's focus on how we can love more, let more excitement and acceptance and bliss into our life, follow the beauty, and confront the darkness that's preventing us from seeing that or preventing us from allowing that in, which is the same image of having that I had earlier, of having that armor on you. So there's something very important here for you guys to remove the armor with and be a little bit more heart focused, which I think you'll feel on the 1st. You'll feel this deep emotions and this reset that you're able to run into the darkness and reset your heart in some ways with this Buffalo card. And it's going to have a really profound impact on you and what you believe you can do, because the next day on the 2nd, Venus is moving into Aquarius in your 9th house. You're starting to get more divine inspiration at this period of time. You might get more excited about what you can learn and how you can move towards this new thing, and coming at it with the mindset of a student, but also of the teacher. So maybe some of you are teaching and learning at the same time. Then the day after, on January 3rd, we have Venus making a sextile to Jupiter in the 11th, which is going to bring in this connection and community support. So really great opportunity for you to reach out to friends, for you to go into a Facebook group of like-minded people, join some kind of community, start some kind of network, which can propel your dreams forward and help you see more and more value that you have to offer. And so again, finding people who can uplift you or who are interested in the same thing as you will help you stay on track and will help you believe more in yourself, because you'll see, oh, my friends say I'm really good at this. I should just do it. Or, oh, these people actually went through the same thing I did. If they can do it, I can do it. That kind of energy of the network supporting you is going to be helpful on the 3rd. And then on the 4th, we have the Sun in the 8th trining Uranus in the 12th. Jesus Christ. I'm like reading my notes and I'm reading them all wrong. Uranus is in your 12th and it's trining, the Sun is trining it from the 8th. So this is about intense liberation. I always say that with Uranus, is liberation, but liberation from your past. Because I do feel like there's something that's been kind of following you around from the past. And it's time for you guys to just feel a sense of relief that this is no longer going to happen and that you don't have to have your walls up. You don't have to be afraid. And that's really what I feel like this full moon in Cancer is going to give you. It's going to give you the opportunity for some type of success that will help you see that you are strong and secure and safe where you are, and you don't have to be fearful of the past repeating itself. The full moon is in your 2nd house of finances and independent security, self-worth, confidence, feeling like you have something to offer the world. And I really feel like that's what's cultivating in here, is this new idea or this little branch of a new idea is coming through, and then your insecurities immediately are attacking it down. And the full moon here is about revitalizing you, helping you see you are worthy, you are valuable, you can act on this idea, and you don't have to be insecure. And it's making a beautiful sextile to Uranus in the 12th, which is again saying goodbye to the past, goodbye to my fears, and support from the universe in terms of going after this thing. And I think you will be very supported in knowing almost like what the next step is. And it doesn't mean that you're going to know all the steps, But I really feel like with this Knight of Pentacles and Magician, especially the Knight of Pentacles, I feel like this person knows what they're working on. They're working hard, they're laboring away every single day. And in their mind, they're manifesting or visualizing what it is that they want to create. So this beautiful energy of doing the internal work with the external work is going to manifest some type of success for you, some type of victory for you with this victory card, which is why the full moon in the second house has the opportunity to show some kind of financial victory. And I think is going to, again, help you rewrite your story so that you're not constrained by fears of the past. The very last thing I'll mention is this moon in Cancer is also squaring Uranus in the 11th house. So there may be some ways in which you are branching out from your community, in which you are doing things that separate you from the herd and the pack. And that could feel like it instigates a little bit of insecurity as well. What if I succeed and my friends don't? Or what if I do something that's way different than the rest of society does? If that comes up for you, this is a time to release that and recognize that you are your source of validation and happiness and security, and that sense of belonging comes from inside first. So that is what I'm saying for you, Gemini. I hope that resonates. If it does and you enjoyed this weekly format, I know it's different from my normal moon forecast. If you enjoyed this, definitely let me know by commenting down below, giving me a thumbs up. I want to know if I should continue this style or not. And I hope you guys have an amazing new year and full moon in Cancer. Bye. All right. Up next, we have Cancer. So this is a weekly forecast. If you didn't watch my intro, this is not just our moon forecast, but we are still talking about the Cancer full moon happening in your first house, which is always a big deal. And I feel like it's going to bring you guys some revelations about oneself, which I'm very excited to talk to you about. But let's rewind a little bit before we get there and start off on December 29th, before this week actually begins, when Mercury went retrograde in the sign of Capricorn in your 7th house. So what is a retrograde of Mercury in the 7th house about? It is about reflecting on our relationship patterns. Whenever we have a Mercury retrograde, it takes us all the way back into our thoughts, our communication, our way of perceiving things, our paperwork, our tasks, our connection, all of that. And it starts to ask us, what's wrong? What's not working? What do I need to go back and review that I've already experienced? So many of you guys might be kind of going back into your past and looking through your files and digging stuff up and realizing, oh, this wasn't fully resolved, or I need to talk to this person. I need to air this laundry out. And you're starting to kind of decide to have those conversations or those thoughts within yourself to finalize whatever that is in your relationships. And on January 1st, we have Mercury making a beautiful sextile to Neptune in your 9th, which I believe will help give you clarity on the direction of those conversations and thoughts, and help, I think, alleviate some of the stress or give you some, I feel like, consolation, like console you, make you feel better. Like I imagine like a crying child and be like, no, it's okay. Like universe has your support. The universe supports you. Like you're okay. Because I am sensing that some of you guys are going through a transition at this period of your life and maybe feeling a little bit of resistance to it because we have the 6 of Swords in reverse next to the 9 of Swords. And what's funny is that we have one of the most beautiful cards in the tarot first, which is the 10 of Cups. But before you can get that 10 of Cups, you first have to move through some type of change. And whenever we have a change, we are leaving one thing behind. We're leaving this land, we're leaving the known, and we're transitioning into something new. And I think for many of you, there could be, and this could be in relationships, but it's going to look different for everyone. But you do have kind of a heavy emphasis on yourself and relationships right now. So there might be some resistance to what is, to this transition, to letting go of that person or that thing or that place and accepting a new fate. And for many of you, I think it's important to realize, and I think something that this full moon on the 6th will help you realize, is that home is where you are. And that's what I get with this turtle card. It's that even if you had to leave a certain place or person or something that felt like home or felt safe, you can create this security and this safety for yourself. because this turtle is in its own shell. It carries its shell with it everywhere it goes. And so that's the kind of security and love and relationship that you can give to yourself first. And many of you guys, I feel like, need to do that actually. And I think it will become clear how your relationships play a role in all of this on January 1st when Venus conjuncts Pluto. So Mercury will sextile Neptune, really beautiful energy, but Venus will also conjunct Pluto, asking you to look very clearly at the things that have been needing to die off or transform in your relationships. And these could be deeply held attachments, fears, insecurities, shadow selves, shadow parts of yourself that have come up in relationships that just haven't been working. And it could have attracted you to the wrong people, or it could have made you react in the wrong way in relationships in ways that you regret. Regardless, there's a lot of kind of the stuff that worries you, that is coming up within your psyche on the 1st in order to be transmuted. And I do see it transmuting, which is the best part of this week, is that there is a light coming in at the end of the tunnel. There is a lifting of this energy. And we can already see it happening on the 2nd when Venus moves into Aquarius in your 8th house. And that will help you do some of this deep diving work and self-reflection. And it will also bring a lot of soothing to those fears and those worries and those parts of you that have been scared about relationship issues and vulnerability and connection. It's going to bring this kind of soothing balm to that area. And on the 3rd, Venus will sextile Jupiter in your 10th, which even has the potential to offer you uplifting news or opportunities within your career, where you could feel like there is a new relationship that's forming, or a new life path emerging, or something exciting ahead of you that can bring about this sense of lightness and a renewed hope in your life, which again, I feel like is a very common theme right now, just lightening your load a little bit. And it could especially be you focusing on what's ahead. Like, what is it that I want to create in the world? What career success do I want? And that could be lifting your confidence and your sense of hopefulness. Then on the 4th, we have the Sun in the 7th making a trine to Uranus in the 11th, which is, again, liberating you in relationships. So the ways in which you have been operating in the old, things that haven't been working in relationships that you're really looking at, you're having a little reset or a refresh or restart by having this trine happen, where you're starting to see, okay, that wasn't working, but now I can make this new friend, or now I can have this new way of being, this new way of belonging, this new way of connecting with people. And the deer came through in your cards, and the deer is an animal, is a herd animal, and very gentle. And so I think many of you guys might be finding a little bit more of a sense of community that feels a little bit more gentle. And again, I feel like you guys are just gaining a lot of clarity at this full moon in particular, which is happening on the 6th in your 1st house, full moon in Cancer. And it's sextiling Uranus in the 11th. So it gives you the potential to, again, have this freedom opening up in your relationships, a lightness of the load. So if there has been things going wrong there, I feel like you guys are gaining a lot of wisdom and clarity about what went wrong. And you're seeing the kind of people or the kind of ways that you can behave or attract, the people that you can attract to create this 10 of Cups. So you're starting to step into manifestation energy with the Spider and the 10 of Cups. You guys are realizing that you were maybe stuck in some old cycle that wasn't working, and now you have the potential to manifest a cycle that you do want. So you can manifest loving, connecting jobs, relationships, everything in your life that can act as this incredible family and support system for you. And some of you might even be going home to family. But the Spider is saying you have the power to manifest it, but you need clarity of vision to do so. And that's what this clarity card is coming in to say. That's what this full moon is bringing you, is clarity around yourself and your responsibility or your part in this whole facet of your life, and how you can actually make changes to yourself in order to change your life, in order to attract what you want. And this full moon is squaring Chiron in the 10th house. So there may still be ways in which you feel like there are things that are bigger than you out there, or there are certain people that you have to, like, that the 10th house is a house of an authority figure, like the government or some other entity that has more power than us. And so the square with the Chiron on the 10th might bring up feelings of feeling like you still don't have total control, like there's some inferiority here, or again, just like passivity or not having full agency over something. But this full moon is helping you realize that you actually have all of the control over everything in your life, and you can create what you want. And yes, I mean, there's some things that we can't control in terms of like things just happening to us, but we always have control over how we respond. And that is where I feel like our life takes different twists and turns based on our free will and how we respond to things. And so that is really what I feel like you guys are going to have revelations around. How can I respond differently in my relationships to attract the relationships and the connection that I really want, and manifest that into my life with the Spider and 10 of Cups card. So that's what I'm saying for you, Cancer. I wish you the best of luck. If you enjoyed how this weekly reading was set up, then definitely let me know in the comments down below, because I'm no longer just doing the full or new moons right now. I'm testing this out to see what it looks like week to week to do this. So if you enjoy it, again, please let me know, and I hope you guys have a beautiful one. Best of luck. Bye. All right, up next we have Leo. So Leo, I have a very important message for you today. This was coming through very strongly. And I did pull an oracle card because I felt like I needed more to give you guys. This is a message for your entire week, and we're going to go over all the aspects. But I did want to let you guys know, if you've been struggling lately, things will turn a corner, and not to give up hope, because I'm really seeing that there's something destined around this struggle, around this situation that you are meant to learn. Let me start off with that oracle card in the section that pertains to what I'm feeling, and then I'll get into the horoscope for this week for you guys. So this is the card that I pulled, which is the Divine Destiny card, and it says, the Oracle of Divine Destiny often comes at a time when there's something that you feel you are struggling to attain. It may be vague. It may be a vague sense or a clear vision. There is something within your heart that you've almost given up hope on, wondering if it's ever really going to come together. The Oracle comes with a message that although you may feel struggle or challenge, it is not a sign to step away in this situation. Don't give up. It's a sign to put your faith in the divine warrior within instead. This warrior may shift approach, change expectation, go within to find the resources you require, or find a completely different path to get you to your destiny. Do not give up the fight. If you're not sure to what this applies, ask yourself what it is in your life that you feel you're fighting to attain or maintain. Find the truth of what you're working towards and keep your heart and mind centered in that truth. Your divine warrior will get you what you want and need and deeply desire in alignment with your highest and best self. You deserve no less. Okay, now I'm going to get into what else this is talking about here for the forecast. So we are starting off with Mercury retrograde in Capricorn in your 6th house. And so many of you guys are feeling like there is an imbalance here. Mercury retrograde is a time of reflecting upon our thoughts, connections, and this is in the area of work. So this is, what are your priorities? Where have you been putting your energy? And with it retrograde, it's like, why isn't it working? What's wrong here? And the 6th house is about what we put out into the world in order to eventually get something back. And I pulled the Destruction card and the 6 of Pentacles. It just kind of feels like there is imbalance here, an injustice here in some way. It's like, okay, normally I would get money for all this effort I'm putting into this job, but I'm not getting money. Normally this relationship would be meeting my needs as well, but I'm doing all the effort and they're not doing it. There's something here where there has been a complete disruption of balance of giving and receiving, where you're putting in effort and it's not emitting the results. And that's what I see with this Ace of Cups in reverse as well. It's like there's some kind of opportunity that was lost. There was something that didn't work out. There was something that felt like you're working hard with somebody else with this Three of Pentacles. You're working hard towards something with somebody, and it just ends in a lost opportunity. It just ends in something that is disappointing, is not giving you what you need, is not filling up your cup in return. And it feels, again, like a destruction of balance. And that could feel very frustrating for you guys. And with Mercury in the sixth house, I think it's asking you to do some internal reflection about how to approach the situation differently. Because whenever something isn't working, there's two things that could be happening. And I do think one of them is happening in terms of the sea serpent, where there's some kind of karmic cycle paying off, where you're meant to go through this experience. And this is not really necessarily like related to you doing something wrong or needing to make changes necessarily, but it's about who you become in the process of this journey. And I think that's what the sea serpent card is saying, is that you guys are becoming resilient and fortified and also more connected to the heart of this journey and why you are doing this. So there is a very important purpose as to why things are not working out as they are right now. And I could see why you get super frustrated, but there may also be some ways in which you can make small adjustments to your tactics or even to your internal world to kind of match what it is that the universe is trying to bring forth. There might be some different version of what you're doing, or there might be ways in which you can become a different version of you, where you are more focused on something that feels very much in line with a purpose and like a heartfelt why, which I feel like that card was trying to talk about. And so there may be an opportunity this week to really examine that with Mercury retrograding in your sixth house. You know, where am I putting my effort, my energy, my priorities? What adjustments do I need to make for there to be more of a balance? Mercury is also sextiling Neptune in the 8th house on January 1st. So many of you guys might feel like you are weaker right now in some ways. Like you are just, I feel like, less stable. And the sextile with Neptune in the 8th, I feel like can give you a little bit more of emotional support. And this could come especially from other people in your life that you really value, that you really need in your life. There can be relationship support that helps kind of heal you a little bit in terms of this feeling weak or feeling inept or feeling like you're not yourself. Venus is conjunct Pluto in your 6th house on January 1st as well. And so I think the realizations about what's not working will become amplified on the 6th, and you'll really start to see imbalances in power, imbalances in money, the undercurrents of why things are happening. I think you're going to gain more clarity around the adjustments that need to be made. And then moving forward, things start to get a little bit of relief. On the 2nd, we have Venus moving into Aquarius, into your 7th house, which will help you attract people into your life that can benefit you. So having Venus move into your 7th house is going to help you in terms of attracting more money, more relationships, more visibility with this starfish. It's like there's more of an attractive quality or magnetic quality that comes in through your relationship sector. So you're able to kind of magnetize people towards you from this day forward, from the January 2nd forward. And on the 3rd, you'll have Venus make a sextile to Jupiter in your 9th. So I think that you'll start to see that the relationships become easier, or money might flow through connections a bit easier. And because of that, there feels like a bit of ease, like, okay, I can finally believe and I can be more optimistic, more positive about my future here as a result of seeing some new foundations being laid, seeing some new connections, new people coming in, more support, more love. On January 4th, we have the Sun in your 6th house making a trine to Uranus in the 10th. And this is when I feel like many of you guys will start to see things flowing a lot easier if there have been blockages in your career or in your health, in those priorities and ways that you need to tackle things. it will unblock around this time. And it may be very likely because you have decided to implement some of those changes I talked about, which will help kind of tweak your system to flow more fluidly in a way that, again, will attract the people, circumstances, money, and things that you need, and create a sense of freedom from this difficult circumstance. Then shortly after that, we will have the Cancer full moon happening in your 12th house, making a sextile to Uranus in the 10th. So this is a lot about you guys, I feel like, feeling supported by the universe in having career progress made. The sextile to Uranus in the 10th is saying we are having a full realization about what wasn't working. We're making those changes. And as a result, we are feeling free, happy, and ready to go in our objectives in our life, in the things that we're working towards. And this could be even like a wedding, for example. It doesn't have to be your career. Like the 10th house is a life objective, something major that will impact your life. And so let's say you have a wedding and everything's been going wrong. It's like maybe you need to change the venue. Maybe you need to change who you're working with. And then once that happens, things flow, things feel easy. You don't maybe lose as much money, or things don't go as wrong as they were going before. And this moon is also squaring Chiron on the 9th. So there may still be part of you that has a fear that it's not going to stay, or that you're having some little voice in you that doesn't want to be as optimistic, that you do, but you don't, kind of thing. And so that's part of what needs to change at this time as well, is believing in yourself, believing in this process, and that you can have what you want. And with this positivity and starfish card, I really feel like you guys are going to make it happen for yourself. I really feel like you're going to attract what you want by keeping that optimistic outlook. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Leo. Best of luck. I know this looks like a little bit of a rough patch, but I do think things are going to be looking up for you once you are willing to let go of some things and change some things. I really feel like you're going to start to notice a whole new branch appears and grows on that tree once you cut off that dead one. So love you guys. If you enjoyed this weekly forecast instead of just the new and full moon, definitely let me know down below so I know to keep doing this, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye. All right, up next we have my beautiful Virgo rising. So we are going to be looking at the week of January 1st to the 7th, which includes the Cancer full moon happening on the 6th. So we're doing things a little bit differently around here. I hope that you guys enjoy it. If you do, give me a thumbs up, comment down below. If you don't, also let me know, because I will go back to my old way of doing it if most of you guys agree. So let's start off this week by looking at actually the December 29th. So a little bit before this week starts. Mercury went retrograde, or will go retrograde in the sign of Capricorn in your 5th house. So for many of us, whenever Mercury goes retrograde, it's asking us to look back at our commitments in that area, to look back at our mindset, the way that we communicate, the way that we connect. And for you, it's happening in your 5th house, which is all about your unique essence. And I believe before this video comes out, or maybe after, but this week, I will be having a video come out on your unique essence according to astrology. So if you haven't already seen that, definitely make sure you check that out, because the kind of things that we're going to be looking at in regards to your essence are what you're going to be analyzing when Mercury goes retrograde in your 5th house. Because what is your essence? It's what makes you unique, your innate talents and gifts, things that come very naturally to you, the way that you shine out in the world, inspire and impact people, naturally lead people, your creativity, your children, the things that you want to birth, essentially, that represent you and your energy out in the world. And when Mercury goes retrograde, it might have you reflect back on old things that you've created, or old hobbies and interests, old things that reflected you, and do them a little bit differently. Make some changes and ask yourself how you can approach that element of your life in a different way. So if it's talking about your children, for example, how can you approach your relationship with your children differently, because something might not be working? Maybe there's something about your parenting style that is actually kind of going against what your children really need at that moment. Or if you're putting something out into the world that's a creative reflection of you, like a piece of art or a business, maybe there's something in that you could approach differently. And I do feel like this will differ from your past ways of executing on this type of thing in your life. And when Mercury sextiles Neptune on the 1st in your 7th house, you may start to see also how your relationships and people in your life can help inform how this thing should unfold, how you should birth this thing or relook at this thing and what needs to change. Maybe there are certain ways in which you haven't been fully owning your gifts in the most creative way possible. Maybe there are certain ways in which you haven't respected your innate knowing as a parent or as somebody dating somebody. Like maybe there's something that you haven't fully owned and respected and admired in yourself, and you've kind of hidden yourself. That's really what I feel like when we have something going on in the 5th house. It's like, have you been hiding? Have you been not wanting to show all of you? And I think that when Mercury sextiles Neptune in the 7th on January 1st, your friends, your relationships, your people in your life might be able to start drawing out of you what it is that you have been in hiding with. Even just a conversation with somebody, they can be like, you're such a good mom because of XYZ, or you're so good at this, and da da da. And that's kind of something I talked about in the Essence video. So again, definitely make sure you watch that. So it's other people around us that will reflect back to us like a mirror where we are shining our light in the world, where we are unique. And we have a chance with Mercury retrograde to go back and redo or undo things in a way that's going to show that it's in a way that's going to align with our actual unique gifts. Because maybe we've done things in a way that we thought we should have done them. And that's when we start to kind of go awry. We also have Venus conjunct Pluto on the 1st on January 1st in your 5th house. And that again is going to help you get very clear on your value systems. What is it that I'm meant to bring out to the world creatively? What is it that I have to offer people? How do I bring more beauty, more harmony? And again, what are my values that are reflected in what I'm making? Because if there's something inauthentic about it, you're going to spot it on this day on January 1st, and you're going to be able to correct it. And then moving forward, you'll start to see how you can embody your uniqueness a little bit better. Because on January 2nd, Venus will move into Aquarius in your 6th house. And this is going to help you in many ways start to really differentiate yourself from the pack and do things in a new and different way. And it's because you had that value system check-in where you're like, oh, okay, that's not working. But this new way of looking at things does work. And you're going to start to see that it starts to shift the wheel for you. This wheel of fortune comes through here, where the fate is shifting. Things are becoming better, more positive, easier. But I feel like before, the energy that you were stuck in was this rabbit card. Maybe very easily distracted or worried. There's something uncertain with the rabbit. It's like the rabbit doesn't fully know its place. The rabbit is jumping and running from place to place, and it doesn't know what it fully has to offer. It doesn't sit there tall and proud and say, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I have to offer. Instead, it's running in fear from place to place, trying to find the safe nest, right? And I feel like that's where the energy we might have been in before is like, I'm running around from place to place, trying to find where I fit. And instead, now you are creating your own space. And I feel like that's what this full moon in Cancer in the 11th house is going to draw out. And I think this whole week up to it is leading to this kind of precipice, this moment of impact where you are going to come into that new essence. Not new essence, it's an old essence, but you're going to come into it in a new way. And when Venus sextiles Jupiter on the 3rd, Jupiter being in your 8th house, it's going to help you transcend old limitations and fears, which is what I'm seeing with this 3 of Swords. Many of you guys could have had some extreme pain from putting yourself out there in the past in ways that you thought were authentic, and it didn't work out. And so maybe since then, you've kind of hauled up a little bit, maybe, held your heart or your cards close to your heart and not wanted to show all of yourself and display all of yourself in a way that's vulnerable. And so because of that, I feel like we are slowly overcoming that. We're becoming whole again. There was some fragmentation that happened. And this could have been even back in childhood, especially because this full moon in Cancer on January 6th is squaring Chiron in the 8th, which is triggering those childhood memories. So we're overcoming some childhood woundings where we maybe were in our essence, in our full light, in our unique self, and we were chastised for that. We were hurt for that. We were not allowed to do that. And so as a result, we fragment it with this Three of Swords. It's like there's broken pieces of one's heart. And what I'm seeing with this week and this full moon in particular is it's coming back together again. And the Venus sextile Jupiter on the 3rd is building up that storyline of bringing cohesion and self-love from within that I really think is going to set up the precipice for this jumping into a new life, jumping into our new way of expressing our essence. And I really see that with the sun on January 4th, the sun making a trine to Uranus. So the sun's in the 5th, Uranus in the 9th. This is believing in oneself. This is feeling like I can be optimistic. I can see how my unique essence is also part of a larger whole and is really important. And without my unique essence, the puzzle has a missing piece and it looks weird and it's not complete. And that's really what I'm seeing here as well, is that there's a wholeness that's happening with you integrating out into the world, seeing how your way of parenting, your way of relating, your way of being in your business is so needed and it is completing the puzzle piece. But also wholeness in terms of fragmentation of the self, which the stingray in the wholeness card is representing. The stingray is bringing all of your chakras in balance, in line together, and creating a sense of wholeness between these fragmented parts. And I've been doing more parts work actually with astrology in my coaching with my clients and with myself. And I'm going to do videos on that. But astrology can be a really powerful way to integrate fragmented parts of ourself. And again, the sun trining Uranus in the 9th is going to bring us a sense of positivity. I think it's going to give us a renewed sense of hope and faith. And I feel like many of us, like I was saying before, we're this rabbit card where we're jumping around trying to find a safe place to land and not finding it. And the irony is that now that we're creating this positivity and wholeness within ourselves, we actually create that sense of security within us. We actually create that feeling of belonging and seeing that when we are in our essence and not trying to force our puzzle piece to be different, to fit society, to look like another puzzle piece. We actually notice that we fit in best when we are totally and uniquely ourselves because we are the missing piece. And so that's why I think this full moon is in your 11th house, because it's not just about your long-term vision and your goals and what makes you unique, but it's also about how your unique essence fits into this bigger picture and how you can actually feel like you are more connected, more whole, more belonging when you are allowing yourself to fully live out your differences, which is probably a change in mindset for some of us, even if it's psychological on a subconscious level. Because I think for many of us with this square with Chiron in the 8th, there are actually deeply buried traumas and fears from childhood that are showing us that you can't be different. If you're different and you stand out, you get hurt. If you're seen and if you're the loudest voice, you're going to get chastised, you're going to get hurt. And so I think many of us are starting to see that that's not true. And this moon is making a beautiful sextile to Uranus in the 9th house, which is giving us that wider vision, almost like a higher perspective of how we are meant to fit into this whole, how we are so purposeful, how the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and it's actually a good thing to stand out, be seen, and to speak and to create the world that you want. And so I think many of us are just going to fully embody that at this point in time. And I pulled the Creatrix card, so I think this is a very positive time for birthing something new, for being confident in what you have to offer, for being confident in your own unique perspective, voice, purpose, because you are here to make an impact, Virgo. So that is what I'm seeing for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this full week. If you did, and you prefer this over the new and full moon forecast, and you want the entire week by week, then let me know in the comments down below. And I hope you guys have a great one. Bye. All right, up next we have Libra. So you guys, this is your forecast for the entire week from January 1st to the 7th. So I'm not just doing a new and full moon, although we are having a full moon in Cancer on the 6th, which I will include in this forecast. So let me know if you guys like this style or if you prefer just the full moon, new moons, and I can do whatever you guys prefer. Okay, so we're starting off the week, December 29th actually, where Mercury is going retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, which is in your 4th house. So many of you guys might have a period in which we are redoing or revisiting things related to the home, the family, and emotions. And I actually really feel like there's something that you guys might be able to change about the way that you take care of yourself within the home, the way that you structure your day, which is usually more of like a 6th house topic, but I'm definitely getting the sense of like when you come home and you meditate or you journal or you take care of your body by eating good foods. There's something about the 4th house where I really feel like you guys are being asked to like nourish your soul emotionally, because I do feel like you guys are up leveling in a really big way and taking on a lot of responsibility. And that's really going to come through very strongly at this full moon on January 6th. And in order to prepare yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally for this, you need to have grounding practices. And so that's what I feel like Mercury retrograde in the 4th house is asking you. Well, how can you ground into your home? How can you create more inner stability? What routines can you practice that will nourish your soul, that will give you energy and replenish you instead of just becoming distracted with your day? And Mercury sextiles Neptune the next day on January 1st in the 6th house. And this will help you guys understand what about those routines need a little bit of adjustment in order to, again, create the best circumstances for your mental health and your body. On the 1st, you will also have Venus conjunct Pluto in the 4th house. And I think this could really illustrate your feeling of being powerful, which is interesting because we're having this full moon in Cancer, which is in your 10th house of career. You're having this big career opportunity to step up, to level up, but you don't just go out and make that happen without first embodying who that person is. And so I think many of you guys with this Emperor card are leveling up in some ways in your identity and becoming a very strong leader. And in order to do that, you're having to become aware of what strengthens you or weakens you emotionally. And Venus conjunct Pluto in the 4th, I think, is ultimately trying to fortify you and give you this connection with your internal world, your inner strength, to be like, you can do this, like you have all of this internal power, you've got this. And if there are things getting in the way, let's move those out of the way. Let me pull a card for that actually. Is there something getting in the way emotionally? Because this is Venus Pluto in the 4th usually has some kind of link to our family. So it's like, oh, because our family did this, we think that we can't have what we want because they always told us this and that. Protection and hope. Yeah, I feel like this is just saying that you guys are being fortified. Maybe there are some elements of overcoming fears, overcoming limitations that usually happens when we level up anyway. But I don't feel like the focus is on that too much, even though the full moon sextiles Uranus in the 8th. I feel like there's almost, it's saying, I feel like the protection card is really important here. Like you are being protected so that the best possible blessings can come out of a situation. And with Venus and Pluto in the 4th, it's helping you feel like you're protected, like you're strong from the inside out. The next day on January 2nd, Venus will move into Aquarius in the 5th house, which will help you attract people into your life that will enjoy your message, that will enjoy what you have to share, what you have to teach. If you are looking to make some kind of social connections and enjoy people, I'm just seeing like celebration, and this could be you celebrating with friends because you are achieving something new in your life. This could be you meeting people that you really flourish with, that you really connect to emotionally. But I feel like you're leading them with this King of Pentacles and the full moon the 10th. It's not just people that you know, that you enjoy. It's like they're seeing you as a leader, or you are leading some people. So there's something here where you are like not on a pedestal, but like you're an authority figure. That's what I mean to say. And so I really feel like that's going to be enhanced by Venus moving into your 5th house. and making a sextile to Jupiter in the 7th house on January 3rd. Again, it's going to enhance relationships, enhance celebration, enhance the way that people look at you. There's more blessings in your inner authority. Like, people are respecting you, people are enjoying you, they're learning from you, growing in the relationship from you. So it's really positive. On the 4th of January, you're going to have the sun in your 4th house making a trine to Uranus in the 8th. So if there have been inner limitations, you are being liberated from those. If you have had specific debt, or if things have had, if they've, it feels like if there have been any leakages, like energetic, monetary, if there have been things that you're trying to like overcome, like paying off the debt or getting over these insecurities, or whatever it is, I feel like you guys are doing that. And you might see an increase in finances from other people. So your boss is paying you more money. You're getting random money from a loan or something. That's like, I'm seeing more money coming for you guys that will ultimately create more of a sense of security. And that, I feel like, has to do a lot with this full moon in Cancer in your 10th house. You're having some kind of career opportunity, which is coming from it's overcoming those limitations, but I think it's really coming from some kind of outside support, like someone believing in you, someone trusting you, someone giving you support or money. There's something there where you guys are being uplifted in your career as a result of that support system. And it's making this full moon on the 6th is making a square to Chiron in your 7th house. So there may be some aspects around relationships and doubt around like other people, or something to do with relating that could still bring up insecurities. However, I feel like you guys are overcoming that. And there might be something around this full moon that's helping you heal any insecurity around leading people in particular. Because I'm really getting this strong sense of like, you're leading people. And it just feels like a very successful full moon for you. And with this Eagle card, I feel like you guys are almost getting a vision, not just of what you can achieve this time, but also of what's possible for you in the long run. Like, this is just leading you to, I feel like, another venture or a larger landscape, a larger feeling of potential that is out there for you. So whatever career successes or notoriety you're getting right now, whatever leg up or loan or whatever is coming in for you, it's helping create potential for more things later down the line. It feels like it's just the beginning. And that's why I got the octopus card, which is like, oh, there's lots of legs. There's lots of things that you have going on right now. This is one of many things that you are in charge of. This could be a new thing or a culmination of something that you've already been working on, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. The octopus is indicating more and more things that you're going to be working on, maybe working with more people, getting more money, having more tasks, whatever it is. I see this expanding and I see this really growing, and this is just the seedling at the beginning that's going to bear fruit of an amazing tree. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Libra. If you like this style video for the full week, let me know down below and give me a thumbs up. And I hope you guys have a beautiful full moon. Very excited for you guys, and I love you very much. Bye. All right, up next we have Scorpio. So this is your forecast for the entire week of January 1st to the 7th. It is not a new and full moon video alone, although I will be talking about the Cancer full moon happening on January 6th. And I am very, very excited to talk about this with you guys, because I'm pulling out some cards that I really feel like are very necessary for you right now. And I'm seeing a very similar message coming through around a transformation or transmutation of energy and healing. So very excited to talk about this. Let's go ahead and jump into the start of the week, which I'm actually going to reverse a little bit and start on December 29th. We have Mercury going retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, which is in your 3rd house. So retrograde Mercury in any house is all about taking a look at our thoughts, our communication, our perspectives, where we're putting our time, energy, priorities. And that's especially true for you because the 3rd house carries the same signature energy as Mercury and these qualities. So there may be specific ways that you've been approaching your communication style that is not working. There may be specific thought patterns that you have been ruminating on that is absolutely detrimental to your well-being. There may be certain priorities that are off balance that are keeping you very busy. So it's time for you guys to go in and do an honest assessment of these areas of your life and ask yourself, where can I improve? Where can I be more honest, more direct, more forthright, and plan for my long term in a very prosperous way? Do I need to have a conversation with someone now in a different way that will affect our relationship better long term? Do I need to change my communication style? Do I need to change my tactics and strategies and the things that I'm trying to pursue in my current reality so that I can get where I want to go long term? That is Mercury in Capricorn when it goes retrograde. And on January 1st, it's going to make a sextile to Neptune in your 5th house, which ultimately I feel like is going to bring in more positive reinforcement. It's going to feel like things are flowing a little bit better. Ideas are coming to you a little bit easier. And if you have been having difficult conversations, I really feel that this is a healing energy, one in which you can approach people with more understanding. You can see the other person, you can create more connection with the other person, and also feel more authentic in exactly what you're trying to communicate. If it's your ideas in general, it's coming up with more creative ideas, things that are, again, more authentic to where you are trying to go. So it's about aligning yourself with your vision, and the sextile with Neptune the 5th will help you do so. January 1st, we also have Venus conjunct Pluto in the 3rd house. So this is going to air out the dirty laundry. This is going to bring up all that shit in relationships or in your own value systems that you have neglected to fully address. This is going to bring up the stuff that you've buried, your insecurities, your pain, your fears, and it's going to lay it on the table to have honest conversations with people. And if it's not that in particular, it could be talking about you realizing how you've been living out of alignment and getting very clear on what you need to do in order to realign yourself. So it's about having authentic conversations with yourself or with others to, again, live more in alignment. I just feel like there might have been some kind of farce or something that you've been ignoring, or something that's like the truth needed to be here and it was kind of being pushed aside. And now the truth is here and you're addressing it and you can heal from it because is finally honest, reflective communication happening with yourself or with others. The next day, January 2nd, Venus will move into Aquarius in your 4th house. This will help solidify things at home, bring more of an internal peace, and create this feeling of satisfaction within the home. So I finally feel settled. I feel secure. Those feelings that came up before are starting to stabilize, and it's not throwing me off kilter so much. And then the next day, January 3rd,